All right. Good evening, good afternoon, good day. How we doing? How's it going? Okay. All right. So let's get into it. Who's ready? So, Duane Keffe D Davis walked into a Las Vegas courtroom this morning with a blue suit and a tie. But before he sat down, he turned around and scanned like the gallery to see like who showed up in the front row behind the prosecutor. He sat behind the prosecutor, sat Tupac's family, stepbrother, Mopreme. 30 years, and now we finally have jury set, opening arguments heard. Anybody thought we'd get to this day? I didn't. If I'm the only one, I'll speak on that. I did not. Which, after 30 years, I'll say this: it's hard to have justice after 30 years. The actual shooter's been gone for about 29 years. I mean, so I don't know how much justice is left. But anyway, here we are. What's good? Welcome to the regroup by Clout, the Clout report. I'm your host, J Cal. Day one is in the books, y'all. And I've got everything for you, both opening, the evidence they played, the first witnesses. I got a little bit of everything. So let's get it. Let's get into it. Chad, did y'all watch any of the live today? Let me know. I'm gauging how deep to go. Or y'all can just ask questions, and then if you need me to elaborate on any of this stuff, we can take it another level. So this is day one, gavel-to-gavel coverage that I'll be having. Every hearing day, the next 4 to 5 weeks. Sources in the description. Go check out my work. Let's get into it. So Chief Deputy DA Binu Palau open for the state, and their theory is simple, and it's built on one night and one night only. September 7th, 1996, Palau put a picture of Mike Tyson fight up in front of the jury, and with that date on it, right? And then hours after that fight, at the MGM Grand, Tupac entourage attacked a man named Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, who happened to be Keffe D's nephew. They played the video of that attack for the jury, just so everybody's on the same page. The state's case is that's what happened later that night. Now, what happened later that night was retaliation for what you watched. Prosecutor says the gunfire came from a white Cadillac that Keffe D was driving, or at least riding in with 3 other men, all of whom are now no longer with us. So anyway, before I get too carried away, let's check this out.
I'm late. On September 7th, 1996, Tupac Shakur came to Las Vegas to attend a Mike Tyson fight. After the fight, Tupac, along with Suge Knight, Trayvon Lane, and other people that were with that group, ran into a person named Orlando Anderson. And Orlando Anderson is the defendant's nephew. And when they encountered Orlando Anderson sitting by himself, they attacked him. That attack was captured on video. Then, a few hours later, Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight drive down Flamingo to Club 662, where where Tupac is scheduled to perform a concert. Then 2.5 hours later, after Tupac and Suge engaged in the beating of Orlando Anderson, they are gunned down. Tupac is gunned down in a drive-by shooting from a white Cadillac in an act of revenge. During those 2.5 hours, you will learn that the defendant was escalating and planning the retribution for the beating of his beloved nephew. Now, let's be clear. Duane Davis did not pull the trigger. But what he did do was plan the retaliation for the beating of his nephew. You will learn that Duane Davis got the gun. You will learn that he got into a white Cadillac. You will learn when the opportunity presented itself for retribution, Duane Davis made sure that the shooters were armed and ready to execute their revenge. And remarkably, you will learn that from Duane Davis himself. On September 7th.
Hey, that's pretty strong argument. He said you're gonna learn that from Duane Davis himself. Nobody else. How y'all feel about that? Anybody got any opinions on that just yet? You know, so then they played audio from 2008. Keffe D was talking to investigators about the night of the unaliving of Tupac. You know, then Palau argued something I want you to sit with for a sec, that across 30 years, Davis has displayed what they called visceral anger towards Tupac. Visceral anger. And the strangest thing about the entire case, and you need to understand it, or nothing else, nothing, or none of the rest of it will make sense. But that in that 2008 conversation, Keffe D said that while he was under an agreement, it's called a proffer agreement. Okay. And what he said about Tupac's unaliving incident couldn't be used against him. He was protected. So he said that in 2008, he was under the assumption that he had immunity, and it doesn't work exactly the same as immunity. So you're not completely immune from prosecution, but there is some way where you have some protection if you give up the story, basically. So I think there was some confusion in the invitation as to how all he was protected. So and then like almost 10 years later, after that, he wrote a book that goes even further, you know, laying out his role in this incident. You know, he did interviews saying the same thing. And that's what actually revived the investigation, because he really wouldn't stop talking about it. So prosecutor Mark DiGiacomo, sorry about that, said it plainly. If Davis had never written a book, he probably never would have been prosecuted. You know, so hopefully that book was worth it. I don't know. We'll see. But he was under the impression he had immunity, and you know, he gave it up to sell you know, he gave up his story to sell, you know, the memoirs of what happened, and I guess there was a market for it at the time. Probably the market for it now. I mean, not really, I guess. So, question. He was protected, allegedly, or so he thought, right? He published it anyway, published his book. What does that tell you about the man on trial? What does that tell me? You know, I think for the right price he did it, for the wrong price he didn't. You know, which I would kind of believe that, you know, maybe what he said was more true than not. If he was supposedly under, if he assumed that he was immune from any type of prosecution, you know, or why would you take money? That's my question. Why would you take money to be involved in something that you were not? Even after the fact. Even after the fact. Would anybody in here take money to be involved in a crime that you know you didn't commit, you didn't take part in? Would you take money to say you did after the fact? I can't say that I would do that. I can't say that I would do that. I mean, that's extremely risky. You never know how that may come back to you, and that would have to be so much money that I don't know how much money that would have to be for me to say that I did something that I know for sure I had nothing to do with. I wasn't even in the state. That would have to be a hell of a lot of money for me to say, yeah, I did it. Give me the check. Yeah, I'll say I did it. Okay. Well, if that's what he did, then that's unfortunate. That's all I can say. That's all I can say to that. If you knowingly said you did something and told went around across the country saying that you did something that you knew good and well that you did not do as you were doing it or as it was happening, then you kind of ask for what you're getting. I mean, I hate to put it like that, but I mean, I kind of don't hate to put it like that. Anyway, moving right along. Let's see here. So next up, we have the defense. This guy was smooth. He's sharp. You know, I thought I had my mind made up. Tupac. Shout out Tupac. Got my mind made up. Come on. I thought had my mind made up till I heard him. So I don't know. I'm kind of up in the air again.
If what they're saying is really true, and you have to ask yourself, if what they're saying is really true or fiction, fact or fiction. We know that Tupac was shot multiple times. That's a fact. That can be proven. We know that it was with a .40 caliber firearm. That's a fact, due to the cartridge casings. On the corner of Flamingo and Cobalt. That's also a fact, right? We're on board so far? We know the date, September 7th, 1996. That is a fact. At 11:17 p.m., we know that to be a fact as well. And then finally, that he was in a vehicle during the rush of night, and that Tupac died 6 days later. Those are facts that will not be refuted by anybody in this courtroom during the time we spend together. But here's the one thing. There are no facts to point to Keffe. Not one.
All right. See that? You heard that. You seen that? You heard that. And that's what I'm saying. He said it's not one to point to Keffe. What y'all think about that? Let me get in this one real quick, and then we'll get started. We'll talk about that one. I want to talk about this lady right here real quick.
So after 30 years, child, the Tupac Shakur homicide trial is in motion. Today was day one. Prosecutor opened, and it's just like a masterclass in what not to do when you commit a crime. Like,
so she's an attorney. Just to give a little backstory on her, or she claims to be a defense attorney. I don't know all her. Says she's been doing it for 20 plus years. She sounds pretty sharp. So I mean, probably is an attorney. I wouldn't assume otherwise, but I didn't fact check that.
this, according to the prosecutor, Keffe D was in trouble for some drugs. Okay, drug, whatever. They're going to arrest him, but they offered him a proffer, which is like, tell us what you know about something, and I'm, recorded. I won't use it against you. In this case, I won't use it against you, but it'll help out on your other case. So this clown decided that he would offer up a murder to get out of a drug case. Say what? So he decides, he thinks he's smart, and he's going to go ahead and like create this scenario where he is just kind of in the car, but not like, and then I mean, y'all be trusting the police. That's what's crazy. How much y'all talk to the police? Anyway, so then it's getting good to him. He didn't told the story to the cops and nothing happened. They said they wouldn't use his proffer, but they.
Why her shirt say all my homies hate prisons? What? I'm sorry.
Didn't say they wouldn't use the shit you said after you made the proffer. That wasn't covered under the agreements. So you decided to go on a fucking press tour talking about how you murdered somebody or you were involved. That Diddy, you were the go-between, Diddy and your nephew and whatever. Sir, I'll be telling y'all to shut the fuck up. I do. I'll be telling y'all, I can't say it enough to stop talking. I can't say it enough. It's bizarre. And I love Tupac, by the way. I cried real hard when he died. I remember where I was. I was working at Ralph's. I was a grocery clerk. I was in law school, child? No. I must have been in college. I was in college. I was on my break, and I heard little Theo on the radio in LA.
Oh, she's from LA.
The beat.
Yeah, that's how I heard it too. She from LA. That's crazy. Small world.
And he was quiet. I was crying. It was crazy. Anyway, so rest in peace, Tupac. Back to Keffe D's old simple ass. So literally, this dude goes on all these shows and starts just yapping to the captain. What are you doing, sir? I don't know how it took him this long. 30 years it's been since he died. He was yapping in the late 90s to the police. Why? And they had you suspected for Biggie's unaliving too. Do you not know a lawyer? Do you not know anyone with common sense? Because you on the television talking about your involvement in this notorious crime is, and the gag is, he might be lying. People lie all the time to get out of cases, right? People lie all the time. They'll snitch on you, your homeboy from the hood, your mama. They will snitch and they will lie in the snitch. They're not even telling the truth. They will lie in the snitch to get out of their own case. So it could be that Keffe D was just putting 10s on 2s.
Mm-hmm.
So then,
that's what I said. I'm not a lawyer though, but great minds, I guess.
and when it played well with the police, got him out of his location, whatever, then he go on a little press tour, get some money, and maybe make some money on this cockamamie story. It could be that Keffe D wasn't even involved, bruh. Make it make sense. I mean, world's dumbest decision-making pattern over the last 20 years. Because and people be thinking, oh, no one confesses falsely. People do confess falsely for a number of reasons. Keffe D's number might have been a dollar amount. But we're going to see. I'm excited to see the evidence when the evidence comes out, because it sounds like all I've been hearing, I don't watch the shit because I'll be busy with work. All I'll be hearing is that that's their evidence. Is his dumbass. It's literally he's the star witness of the prosecution's case, John. Which is wild. I'll be telling y'all, shut the fuck up. But y'all don't be listening. Y'all never listen. Never.
We listening. We listening. Hold on. Let me fix this. Okay. So yeah, I should have went through this already, but anyway, I thought she said something a little more informative than the defense attorney. But hey, he was sharp too. Like I said, I had my mind made up until I heard him. I'm like, well, wait, hold on. I had it all figured out until he said they don't have any evidence. They still got to have some evidence. You still got to come forward with some evidence. So anyway, the defense attorney's name is Michael Sanft. That's a tough one. Had the option to reserve his opening until the state rested. He didn't. He went today. All right, aggressive. So his strategy is one of the strangest things you'll see in the courtroom. Okay. So his client's own past statements, Sanft called them, in his words, BS. I'm not going to say the whole thing. I go to church, but you know what that BS mean. But that's what he called it. That's the defense. Not he wasn't there, not it was someone else. The defense is the man you're about to hear from over and over on tape and in print is a liar. Well, I don't think there'll be any pushback to that, but they're gonna take that as that was the one truth. That's the one time he told the truth. Is that we want that. We want that to be the truth. So they're gonna accept that as the truth. Like they ain't lie about everything. They're gonna say no. That part. Now when he said that, he told the truth. The book was co-authored to make money, not to tell the truth. Well, I believe that too. These books are about making money. They're not about telling the truth. I believe that. So they typically do what? They embellish, right? They embellish. They make it sound one way, They add to the story. They make it sound a little more dramatic. Like they say, like based, they call it like based on a true story, so they can kind of loosely associate it with the real, so they can kind of take the truth. The truth is not that exciting. Yeah, that's what really happened. We got to add something to it. We got to give it some more spice. The truth is weak. We got to spike it up a little bit. So that's how you get stories with storytellers that have the ability or the autonomy or the freedom to, make it a little better for the screenplay, make it a little better for the book, make it a little better for the play. The real story was not that exciting, but somewhat like that. So, like Malcolm X. Anybody see that movie Malcolm X? Dude say, "Get your hand out my pocket." I wonder if they actually said that. I think of stuff like that. Like, did somebody ever say? Was that like a fact of when that occurred, or did they just make some type of commotion or distraction or something like they cause a distraction over another side to get security to go over there, and that's just what they made it sound like for the movie or had him do for the movie. Anyway, I digress. So anyway, he asked questions that actually, that were good. If Keffe D admitted a role in this publicly for years, why wasn't he charged earlier? That is a wonderful question, because I asked myself that too. Why now? Why do we care about this now? We don't care. What do we really care about this? I don't think justice is even possible in this case. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I don't think justice is possible. What do y'all think? Everybody's gone already. Keffe D got to live to make it through the trial. He got to make it to sentencing. He already had heart problems and all kind of other health issues. He may not make it to that. I don't know. You tell me. He also went after the police work directly, called one previously assigned detective's work biased, sloppy, incomplete. Well, you could probably call a lot of it that. If we keeping it a buck, we gonna keep it a buck on here, chat. We keeping it real. We gonna keep it a stack or what? And here's what I think about it. And I want to be fair to both sides. That's what he says. He says, my client is a liar. And in rough times, it's a rough thing to stand on. Juries don't love it. Okay, well, why would they? Why would anybody love somebody who's going to say one thing for one circumstance and something else doing another? If times get rough, if times get hard, times get rough, and you say whatever it is, you got to stand on that. Why would you say that? That's my question. If I got away with a crime, or that's even worse, if I did not have anything to do with some people over somewhere else doing crime, why the hell would I take a check to say I was in the middle of it too? Check or no check. Why would I do that? That have to be a hell of a check for me to say, yeah, I was right with him. Well, okay, you was? Okay. Well, you going right with him too then. You was with him then, you going with him now. Oh, wait a minute. Nah, I'll just try to get that check. You know what I mean? No, I don't mean I was with him like that. No, then you gotta stand on it. You took that check. If you just said you did it for the check, well, that comes with the check. That's what I would think before I take that check. What else come with this check? Some time gonna come with this check? Come on, man. What did they do? What did I do? I gotta say I did all that? I don't know, man. This might be more trouble than it's worth. So, but look at the actual structure of this case. There's no DNA, no recovered weapon, no living eyewitnesses. Orlando Anderson was unalived in 1998. Prosecution's case is substantially Davis's own words. That's all they got. What he said, Your Honor, jurors, what he said. That's what we got. That's our case. So if you're the defense, attacking the credibility of those words isn't a weak play. That's like really your only play, I would think. It might be the only play. So, and it's aimed at exactly one thing: reasonable doubt. Do you have reason to doubt that he told the truth when he took that money? Is there even a sliver of doubt? It's a little bit sliver to me. The state says he told the truth in that book. The defense says he lied for money. Which one do y'all say? Chat, come on. Y'all been quiet. All right, I see you, Florida native, man. Appreciate you for checking in, tapping in, joining in. I think this is kind of difficult. I mean, to know for sure. But one thing is for certain. He took that money. According to him, he took that money to say he did something. Then you did it. To me, I mean, you took the money to say you did something. Well, you did it. I mean, there's no discussing it. I mean, I'm glad I'm not a juror in it. But if you tell me that you were foolish enough to say that you did something to get a check, then you did it. You got your check, then you did it. You go. Case closed. But I'm glad I'm not a juror, so hopefully they'll, see it in their own way. But that's very difficult to believe. You know what? It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe when a liar tells the truth. It's hard to believe when a liar tells the truth, especially when they say, "Well, I was lying then," but you're not lying now. How do I know you're not lying now? How will we know who's lying when? He admits he lied then. How do we know who's lying when and where? He said he lied for money. So he'll lie when he's in a jam. But he wouldn't lie now. Just a question. I don't know. What do you all think? So then the state calls their first witness, Garry Dale, a former Las Vegas Metro police officer. Dale testified about pulling Tupac and Suge over earlier that night, about riding with Tupac to the hospital. That's a deliberate choice by the prosecution, and it's, worth naming. They didn't open up with a gang expert. They didn't open up with a forensic expert or witness. They opened up with the officer who was physically with Tupac after being shot. That's not about evidence. That's about making sure the jury spends the next 5 weeks remembering there's a person at the center of this, who's not here as a result, whether Keffe D was telling the truth or not. Somebody's not here. There's a person that was here 30 years ago, no longer here because of Keffe D, allegedly. So was starting with that officer the right call, or is the state playing on emotion before they're proving anything? Well, of course, that's emotional play. That's an emotional play. That's obvious, right? But these are people. The jury box is full of people. They're not full of Chat GPT or AI or something. They have emotion. When you connect and the humanistic quality of it, like it's a person. It's just not a collection of evidence. This is a person that we're talking about. Let us not forget that. Somebody, this involves somebody meeting a harsh end to life, where, they didn't deserve that. So 4 to 5 weeks, names floated as potential witnesses include names like Suge Knight, John Puffy Combs, Nevada's own governor, Joe Lombardo, Yusuf Ja, the man Davis said actually wrote his book. He's gonna take the blame. He's gonna take the ride. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, okay, so let me into these witnesses. Suge called TMZ from prison last week. So he said this, and I quote, it was an assassination. Said more people were involved. He won't cooperate. Well, isn't that kind of cooperating? Is that not a cooperation? If you're not cooperating, why would you say that? Just a question. Why would you say it's an assassination? There's more people involved. Okay, let's see who else we can pull in. But I'm not cooperating. Well, what is that? If that's not cooperation, that could be cooperation. It could not be. It could just be confusing as hell. I don't know what to make of it. Is it actually more people? Do they need to expand that investigation to see who else may be involved? Clearly they're not going to look at Suge. I don't know. He got shot in the head, according to the reports, or he got hit with something, some type of shrapnel or something hit him in the side of the head when Tupac got shot. So, if he planned that, that's a terrible plan. That was his plan. I don't think if maybe that didn't go according to plan. If he had any involvement in that, right? But yeah, why do you need to say anything about it if you're not getting involved in it? I don't understand the purpose. Does anyone else? So, two things before we go. One, this trial will probably not tell us who pulled the trigger. Not definitively anyway. We all believe it was Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, who's no longer with us, and everybody else in the car is no longer with us as well. But whatever comes out of that room, it will be some type of partial justice, right? Two, Prosecution Shakur sat in the front row today and watched videos of the fight that prosecutor says got his brother unalived. Afeni didn't live to see this. A lot happened in the past 30 years, so that's why, I really don't believe that we can really have justice either way. So so fast forward, they throw the book at Keffe D. They give him all the time. What does that matter? What does that mean at this point? What does that really do at this point? They give Keffe D the long ride. Is justice served at that? Did we get our guy? We got it. We got the bad guy. Did we? Don't get me wrong. Keffe D may be a bad dude, but I don't know how justice can be served this late. That's all. That's my only point. I don't know how we make it right either. If he was involved. It comes out, fast forward, it comes out he was involved. What would be the appropriate punishment this long after? What would society say about what he should get, if he should get anything, or what? I know they're looking at some big numbers if he gets, which is probably understandable. He had that's what those acts, that's the penalty, right? So I get it, but it's just when it takes so long, it just kind of distorts A lot. That doesn't make it not wrong though. I want to be clear on that. Wrong is wrong, right is right. When you do wrong, you should get wrong, right? Right. Um, but whatever this becomes is content, and it's going to become content. You know, hold on to that for sure. But you know, court is back tomorrow. Testimony continues. We'll be here. But before we go, another question. Another question for the chat that's been so talkative today. What do you want me to what you want me watching for tomorrow particularly? Anything in particular you want me to keep an eye out for? I mean, I'm watching everything. Actually, I'm live streaming it during the day. I'm live streaming the trial during the day, so y'all can check it out on my live. But if you have anything in particular you want me to be mindful of tomorrow, just let me know. Let me know. All my social media stuff is up top, so you all can stay connected with me. But yeah, I'll be on top of everything, and we'll bring everything tomorrow tomorrow night. So any questions anybody have? Let's do some Q&A. Who's up for some Q&A? Anybody? Florida native? Come on, man. Well, let's see if I got some other questions, some good ones. Let's see. Okay. I got another question. Y'all think Diddy's really involved? I won't tell nobody if you say so. If you think so, I'll keep it between us.
I was trying to talk to him to find out what it.
So this is Garry Dale, the police officer that rode in the ambulance with Tupac after being shot.
Happened. Excuse me. Gather information to see who had fired at them.
Did you wind up riding anywhere with Mr. Shakur?
Yes, I rode to the hospital in
And
the ambulance with him.
during that time period, between the time you get to Mr. Shakur and the time period he gets taken into the hospital, are you able to have any sort of communication with Mr. Shakur?
He was still talking, and I was trying to convince him to tell me the name of whoever his assailants were.
And did he ever respond?
yes, he responded, no, we'll take care of it. So something like that. I was trying to talk to him to find out what had happened.
Well, did they take care of it? Chad, anybody? Just asking. Well, that's all we got today, y'all. Any questions? All right. Well, if not, we're going to sign out. And we'll pick up tomorrow where we left off. Sound good? Sound like a plan, y'all? All right. Peace.